All right, check the time. It's 9 a.m. and of course, welcome to the show Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. My name is Joseph Atera saying welcome. It's the first installment for the week, and of course, it promises to be another exciting one. Now, so much happened over the weekend, kickstarting, dating back rather to Friday at what happened to Arsenal. But then we're here to talk about this and more on the show this morning.
And welcome to the latest edition of Sports Spring on Western Spring Television. It's another Monday, and I tell you for sure that in the Nigerian Premier Football League, Bendel Insurance have extended their unbeaten run in the NPFL to 15 games. Meanwhile, Rivers United suffered a shock defeat to the Young Africans of Tanzania. No one saw that coming, actually, and a whole lot of excuses has been put to why that happened, why that defeat happened to Rivers United yesterday. Now, aside from that, it is no longer news that the Flying Eagles of Nigeria have been placed in the group of death. Now, more stories and analysis coming your way this morning. I am Nengi Ernest Ademola. All
right, to start from the local scene, where match day 15 of the NPFL was eventful, with movement up and down the log as Bendel Insurance extended the lead at the top of Group B to 6 points, while Doma surpassed Rivers United in Group B standings after a home win. We understand that the weekend started on Friday at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, where Insurance hosted El Kanemi Warriors with the home side scoring 2 goals in the space of 4 second half minutes. That's in the 54th, 58th minutes through Ismail Seriki and Austin Ogunye respectively. El Kanemi pulled one back through Osani Mohammed, a spot kick, a goal number 11 minutes later, but the comeback was not achieved after the blast of the whistle, keeping the away side rooted to bottom of Group A. In Akure, David Onovo's 23rd minutes goal was the difference between Sunshine Stars and Lobby Stars, with the Akure-based team maintaining 5th position in Group B with a game in hand, while Lobby Stars remained the table toppers.
And that brings us to the results of the games played in the NPFL. During the weekend. Of course, the weekend opened on Friday, where Bendel Insurance FC of Benin City took on El Kanemi Warriors, and I can tell you for sure that that game was, of course, a one-way traffic. Everyone predicted a one-way traffic, because you look at Bendel Insurance, definitely they have been invincible in the 2022-2023 Abridged League version of the NPFL, thanks to a 2-1 win over a relegated side rather, in people of El Kanemi Warriors. Definitely very last on the log in that one in Group A. And the victory for Bendel Insurance this time around is their first since the start of the second stanza after 5 consecutive draw. And definitely it was a goalless first half, but coming into the second half, of course, just like Joseph has rightly stated, Ismail Sariki and Austin Ogunye definitely put 2 goals past their counterparts. But then you do understand the fact that El Kanemi Warriors currently fighting for their lives in the NPFL, although they reduced that deficit to 1 goal just from the penalty spot. But then that wasn't enough to be able to redeem them out of the relegation zone. And for Benin, I tell you for sure that for 11 years being absent from the NPFL did not stop them, did not demean them from doing what they can in the NPFL so far. Now, other results from the NPFL results for Group A, you have Eyimba versus Remo Stars, 1-1 draw yesterday. Of course, that game 5 minutes time was added at the stoppage time. And aside from that, Plateau United got a victory, 1-0 victory against Nasarawa United yesterday, as well as Shooting Stars FC got a 3-0 victory over Gombe United. Now, moving on to Group B. For the results in the NPFL, Doma United got a win, a 2-1 victory over Bayelsa United. Of course, Bayelsa United these days, they've been trying their best in the NPFL so far, but precisely for this match, their best wasn't enough against Doma United side in the Group E. In the Group B, aside from that, Niger Tornadoes took on Abia Warriors. 3-0. That one ended in favor of Niger Tornadoes, as well as Sunshine Stars are getting a 1-0 victory against Lobby Stars. Of course, if you look at the table and how it stands for Group B, you definitely know that Lobby Stars are leading that one. And aside from that, let's look at some of the tables, how the table stands rather. For Group A, you have Bendel Insurance leading the pack with 31 points, followed by Eyimba, who got a draw yesterday against Remo Stars with 25 points. Plateau United third on the log this time around, pushing down Aqua United to 4th. Plateau United having 24 points on the league table. That's for Group A. And if you look at Group B, I tell you for sure it's something that everyone has been looking forward to. And the Lobby Stars, like I said before, still maintaining as the leaders of the pack with 26 points. Rivers United, who got a shocking defeat yesterday for the CAF Confederation Cup. Of course, their game in the NPFL was postponed, and they still lead the pack second on the log with 23 points. And Doma United, who of course got a victory yesterday, also third on the Group B log with 22 points.
Now let's move to the continent. It was a poor outing for the Nigerian champions, Rivers United, in the first leg of the quarterfinals of the CAF Confederations Cup on Sunday. Played at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. Despite playing at home, the pride of Rivers felt uncomfortable on the ball during the game and allowed the Tanzanian side to cede control of the game. Congolese striker Fitin Mayele posed a constant threat to the back line of the hosts throughout the entire first half of the game. With the hosts not coming out enough to play, young Africans continued their domination in the game, and their effort finally paid off, with Mayele netting the opening goal in the 74th minute. He completed his brace almost immediately to make it 2-0 in favor of his team, to the surprise of the fans of supporters of Rivers United. Despite all the effort of Rivers United to get back into the game, proved abortive as the game ended 2-0. Now the second leg will take place at the Benjamin Impact in Kappa Stadium next weekend, with Rivers United hoping to turn the table around. The overall winners in the two-leg will qualify to the next stage of the competition, which will be the semi-finals.
And definitely the coach of Rivers United coming out to talk about the fact that injuries, a whole lot of injuries and a whole lot of things affecting the team definitely came to play in that game yesterday. That is why they were not able to do the needful. But aside from that, aside from the coach of Rivers United coming out to talk about their game against the Young Africans of Tanzania yesterday, the head coach of the Young Africans of Tanzania, in person of Nasseruddin Nabi, have revealed how they defeated Rivers United in Uyo. Now, 2 second-half goals, just like Joseph has rightly stated, from Mayele, ensured that the Tanzanian side secured a comfortable 2-win at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in Uyo. Now, the coach of the Young Africans of Tanzania, Nabi, expressed his excitement about the result, but made it clear that they took their chances against Rivers United. In his words, and I quote, "I'm delighted to win because it is not easy to come to Nigeria and win. We played well and took our chances, but the game is far from over." Definitely is far from over. Let's see how the second leg will pan out to be for Rivers United.
Well, I think the coach here is trying to play mind games with the Nigerian side. He said the same thing before he landed in Nigeria, that the Nigerian side are top favorites to go through, and how difficult they were to play. And, keeping their heads high and knowing full well that they lost this competition to the Nigerian side some years ago. They knew they had to come all out to get the job done, and that was what exactly they did in the first leg. Now, going away from home for Rivers United, if it had ended 1-0, maybe they have a slight chance of going through, but then 2-0, and they will have to give in their 150, 200% if they want to qualify to the next stage, and that's the reality here.
Exactly.
Losing 2-0 at home to Young Africans wasn't a good idea, honestly.
And you look at the fact that before this game, I think Astali Guma came out to talk about the fact that they were going to approach this particular game against the Young Africans of Tanzania with a different mindset, a different mentality. But I guess at this point in time, just like you've rightly stated, Joseph, these people, they've worked so hard to get to the quarterfinals and definitely wouldn't want to let any complacency set in. Of course, you look at Rivers United and you know that they have the Arsenal, you know that they have the capability to be able to even win the CAF Confederation Cup. But as for
they even failed to register a shot on targets. That's the most annoying part.
That's the analysis coming our way this morning. And you want to say that Rivers United in the return leg will have to score 3 unreplied goals in Tanzania next week, which I do not know how possible that will be. But if they can be able to do that, that means it might be a chance for them to actually reach the semi-finals of the CAF Confederation Cup. But until then, let's keep our fingers crossed and see what will happen in the return leg next week.
Let's move on to the Flying Eagles here. We understand that Flying Eagles coach Ladan Boso is confident the team will have to be at their best after they were drawn in Group D, while it's called the Group of Death of the Under-20 World Cup. Nigeria have been pitted against 5-time champions Brazil, top European team Italy, and the Dominican Republic in the first round of next month's World Cup in Argentina. They will open their campaign on the 21st of May against the Dominican Republic in Mendoza before taking on Italy 2 days later at the same venue. The final group fixture is against Brazil in La Plata on the 27th of May.
Group of death indeed.
But they have a chance there. They have a chance.
Exactly, they would always have a chance.
No, what plays out here is that they take on Dominican Republic. Nigeria should beat Dominican Republic comfortably. Comfortably, I beg your pardon. They have the maximum 3 points there. Brazil and Egypt were top favorite to leave that group. We know how difficult it can be, but we'll be tipping Brazil to win. So Brazil has 3 points. Nigeria takes on the Italian. All they need to do is avoid defeat. And if we can do that against Brazil, well, we believe Brazil must have qualified then. So they have a chance if they put their heads high.
And just to add to what Joseph has stated, I think London Boso's boys as the under-20 team would have to step up their skills in this particular one, because if you talk about Brazil, we know the history, how it goes for the under-20 World Cup, because they have never been beaten at the tournament in 5 previous meetings, and even for the Italians. Now, the best result Nigeria has gotten in matches against Brazil at the under-20 World Cup were the goalless draw in 2005 and a 1-all stalemate in 2013. And the biggest of Nigeria's 3 losses to Brazil was the 4-0 crash landing at Chile in '87. I tell you for sure that London Bos and his boys, they have a whole lot of work to do. Like I said before, they need to step up their skills, most especially against Brazil and Italy. Now, not forgetting Dominican Republic. I mean, you would never know how far they've come in terms of development, in terms of progress, if it comes to the under-20 World Cup. So let's keep our fingers crossed once more and see how we can be able to at first defeat the Dominican Republic, and how we can try ourselves with Brazil as well as the Italians.
Now, away from the under-20, let's move to the under-17. So what is happening with the under-17 here? The Nigerian Football Federation on Sunday unveiled a 26-man list of players that finally made the call to represent the country at the 2023 CAF Under-17 African Cup of Nations in Algeria. The Golden Eaglets are scheduled to arrive at the Algerian city of Constantine on a Sunday, which they have, according to multiple reports. After a series of MRI tests, 26 players who passed the test were on the trip to Algeria, while others who either failed the test or could not measure up were dropped. Now, speaking ahead of the tournament, the head coach of the team, Unduka Ugbade, said in a quote, "We are going to Algeria with confidence, but with level heads. We are the champions of WAFO B, but in the essence, nothing has been won. What matters now is winning a ticket to the FIFA World Cup and winning the African Cup of Nations. I believe we have the boys to do the job." Now, let's look at some of the players invited here. We know there is a Yahaya Danjuma Lawal. There is Emmanuel Michael. There's also Aruna Abdullah. We have Tochukwu Joseph. There's Jeremiah Oluwaseyi. And not forgetting Umar Abubakar Idris Abdullah, Precious Tonye Williams, Ifeoluwa Adewale Olowoporuku, and there's Charles Ade Agada, and not forgetting Hope Yusuf Linus.
And all the best to the under-17 boys. Definitely, they would not want to let us down in this one. If you look at them for the world, definitely they're 5-time champions, and the AFCON should not elude them this time around. So all the best to them.
And of course, winning the WAFO B competition says a lot about the under-17 team, as you can see on the screen. On your screens, rather, this was when they arrived in Constantine last night. And, you know, it's a huge one for the Golden Eaglets. And there is so much at stake here. It's not just winning the African Cup of Nations in Algeria. It's also securing qualifications to the World Cup. That's the bigger stage here. But then sometimes they get distracted with these things. Oftentimes have we seen coaches lead some of our age-grade teams to competitions because they know, well, the primary target or the main target is to qualify for world competitions like we saw with the under-20.
Yeah, and they just want to get there.
Just want to get there, and when they get to the semis, they relax. And that is not what Nigerians are hoping for here. These are young lads. These are the future of Nigeria. So aside getting a ticket to the World Cup, we also want to see these young lads lift the title, which I believe is possible. Exactly.
It is very possible when you talk about the under-17. Judging from the prowess that they've been able to show to all fans of the under-17 club. And let's move aside from that one. Like I said earlier on, that it's no longer news. Definitely that the Minister of Youth and Sports Development in person of Sunday Dare has ordered the immediate close of the National Stadium Lagos. And we did bring this news, I think was last week, Friday or on Thursday, where we talked about the fact that a floodlight collapsed in that particular stadium. And Dare actually visited the stadium on Friday after the collapse of the floodlights on Wednesday and inspected the remaining 3 floodlights and other facilities. Now, the minister ordered immediate temporary closure of the stadium and the cordoning off of the main ball area where the floodlights are located. Now, Dare took to his Twitter account to give an update on the proceedings at the National Edifice, which was built in 1972 under the administration of General Yakubu Gowon. Let's see what would happen, because in Nigeria, except things like this happen, you wouldn't see any change anywhere. You wouldn't see some of the top officials visiting those stadiums to make sure that things are in order, Joseph.
And of course, it has been a trend from top hierarchies when it comes to sports in this country. And well, he has ordered the immediate closure of the stadium, and not just closing it down. Hopefully, something is done about that. And there are so many floodlights at the stadium in Sule, but one has collapsed. So hopefully, as we said earlier, that they look into orders because this stadium was built decades ago, and these floodlights have been standing. So they need to be changed. And you recall some weeks ago, he also said that they need some amount of money to be able to change the face of the stadium. And that came with so many criticism from stakeholders and football lovers. Why are you needing billions to change the face of the National Stadium in Sule? But if you visited the pool area, you visited the gym area, you visited the table tennis and the lawn tennis area at the stadium, and you will cry for Nigeria and understand why Sunday Dare is saying they need that much amount to repair their stadium.
And the reason is because they failed to actually maintain the stadium. I mean, because if you have this maintenance culture, you wouldn't need as much as those billions of naira they're calling to be able to fix up a stadium. But
unfortunately, we don't. I remember when the Abuja National Stadium was opened years ago. I can't remember the exact year. We celebrated. As a matter of fact, the opening ceremony of that game had Nigeria and Brazil play on that pitch, and that was when we knew who Ronaldinho was, because he personally destroyed Nigeria in that game, 3-0. He got a hat-trick in that game. That was when we discovered Ronaldinho. So if that much was spent, that's over a decade ago, to build a stadium like the Abuja National Stadium, and it was condemned at some point. It was discovered that we had reptiles on the pitch because no one took care of the pitch until Aliko Dangote came into a rescue and renovated the stadium. And after we failed to qualify against Ghana, we saw fans, storm on the pitch, destroying facilities. Exactly. The same Aliko Dangote came again, repaired the stadium, and that was where we played Guinea-Bissau, where I think we lost 1-0 in Abuja there. But then we need to put maintenance culture, take it seriously. And how can these things work? We understand that there's so many jobs for the federal government to do, as I listed last week. There is health, there is education, there's so many things.
The economy.
Give these stadiums out to club side. They will maintain the stadiums.
And let's see how things pans out to be, as it has been closed temporarily, just like we earlier stated. We do hope that something will be done, and let's see how that can be able to be fresh concerning that edifice in Lagos.
It was a massive weekend which started on Friday. The chances of Arsenal winning the Premier League for the first time in many years hanging the balance at the moment. We'll also talk about what to expect at the final on the 3rd of June, where Manchester United will be locking horns with Manchester City at Wembley Stadium. But until then, let's give you highlights of some of the matches that were played over the weekend.